Welcome to the Pathways to Wholeness podcast. I'm Michael Warmoth, and I thank you for joining us for this next episode of meditative teaching. Please note that these meditations were recorded in a tropical environment with the windows and doors open, so you will hear birds and other sounds in the background. Try not to let them distract you from the words. Okay, let's just settle in, relax, maybe take a few breaths and just listen to the music before the teaching starts. We have heard that there is a natural impulse for us to return to a state of presence and connection with our authentic selves, and we've heard that life is energy, and energy is the infinite consciousness creating. The natural impulse within us is to be in harmony with that energy of the creation. And what that requires of us is that we allow it, we let it be, that we surrender and let go. We may not be conscious that we are saying no, that we are blocking the natural flow of that creative energy. But it is the definition of the state of dissociation and control what is the opposite of control. It is allowing, letting go. There is a natural flow and rhythm to that creative energy. And when we are lost in dissociation and the egoic mind, we experience none of that. We are blocking the natural flow and rhythm. So how do we get to that place of allowing and letting? We first must consciously choose that is our path, that is our intention, that is what we are doing, so to speak, even though it requires no doing at all, except for remaining focused on our intention. I have to remember that our state of dissociation is a state of disturbance. It is a response to disturbing energy within us. It can be a response to blocked energy, where we were not able to express ourselves freely, had to learn to control and hold on. When that was reinforced through conditioning, it became an automatic response to energy flow within us, that we would block it and suppress it and dissociate, distract ourselves. Now, we are afraid of that flow, that energy. We may not think we are, we may not be conscious of that fear, but there is no other reason for us to hold ourselves tightly and deny ourselves the peace, the joy, the love of our natural selves. And we must remember, it is an active process. We are actively denying it. Yes, it is unconscious for the most part. We are not aware of any choice to do that. But that is how the mind works. Things that are habitual become subconscious. We don't think about them. We don't make conscious choices. They're made out of conditioning. And so, we have to consider how Do we return to being open and available to whatever is within us, so that we are open and available to the natural flow and rhythm of that creative power, that creative source, that energy which is the energy of love. What does it take to face our fear of the energy within us? We have to know that we're safe, that we will be okay. It helps for us to know that there is no reasonable cause for us to be afraid of what is within us. And so we have the power of reason to help us make the choice to let go. If you consider in this moment what could be inside you that would be so terrible that you would rather suffer and deny yourself joy and peace and love. The ego has filled us with the idea that there is something bad and wrong about us that must never be seen, must never be exposed, must always be denied and suppressed. But that is not the truth. It is a hallucination based on fear, overwhelming fear, arising out of a betrayal so hurtful that we couldn't face it, and we couldn't process it. We were alone with that betrayal, without the resources to deal with it. We must come to see that that idea that we are so bad or so wrong cannot be true, and that what happened to us was not because of something about us. We must use the voice of reason to soothe and overcome the voice of the ego. There is no reasonable expectation that we should have somehow been different. And there is no reasonable idea that we should somehow be bad or wrong. There is no such thing. We need to soothe ourselves to bring the knowledge that we are actually the perfect expression of a perfect creative source, and that the energy that we are so afraid of is actually the energy of creation, of light and love. Yes, there are powerful emotions that we have avoided or suppressed and denied, and we are afraid of them. They cannot hurt us. They are not a threat, a danger. When we let them be, they pass. So many of us have become accustomed to listening and being guided by fear. If something scares us, if it feels scary, we do something to avoid it, to get away from it. We don't question the reality or the basis for that fear. We just automatically shut it down. We have heard the truth and known it is true. We are able to reason. Being guided by fear is denying all reasonableness and denying the truth. We give up our power, our truth, our soul, when we are guided by fear. We must be clear that this is not something that is wrong with us or something that is bad about us or some failure or weakness. It is easy to see how it would come to be and how there was no other way it could be. And so we cannot judge where we are and where we have been. We're simply making conscious what has not been conscious. We're simply bringing light into the darkness. Darkness of dissociation and control, where so much has happened without any actual conscious choosing. And so, you must remember the path to peace is the path of allowing, of letting, giving up effort to control, making a conscious choice to do what we are afraid of, to allow ourselves to know the flow and rhythm, the creative power of the infinite consciousness. It is always here. It is always known to us. It is the source and essence of our being. It is reality. We have everything we need to feel peace and joy. They cannot be taken away from us. Only we can deny ourselves. It is certain that we will be okay if we surrender. There is no threat within us. And that is how we will know the peace of the truth. Thank you for listening to this episode of our podcast. If you'd like more information on these meditations and teachings, visit pathwaystosurrender.com. You might be interested in our other podcast, Pathways to Surrender. These are guided meditations designed to support you in letting go of whatever tensions or false ideas you might be holding about how things really are, and reaching a state of peace and surrender. That's Pathways to Surrender. Look for the next episode soon. We're uploading them every couple of days. See you next time.